The first couple of weeks of the 2024 NFL offseason certainly didn't disappoint.
The Jets have the weapons, not only to win, but to win it all.
Let's dive into 5 NFL teams who have won the early stages of the offseason and 5 who have lost it big time. Winning, Chicago Bears. By trading Justin Fields to the Pittsburgh Steelers, the Bears essentially confirmed that they'll be using the first overall pick on Caleb Williams. They're not trading the pick and they're not using it on a non-QB. There's no overthinking this. They're taking the best QB prospect since Trevor Lawrence. It was a no-brainer of a call, but it is still a win for Bears Nation. But the Bears won the offseason weeks before the NFL draft commenced anyway. For starters, they landed 6-time Pro Bowl wideout Keenan Allen from the Los Angeles Chargers for the shockingly low price of a 4th round pick. So now Williams will have Allen and DJ Moore as his top 2 pass catchers. The Bears added do-it-all running back DeAndre Swift on a 3-year deal. Swift, who's put up 1,000 yards of offense twice, will form a very dangerous tandem with Khalil Herbert. And we have no issue with the 2-year pact for veteran tight end Gerald Everett. Can't have too many weapons for your rookie QB. Looking to shake up the secondary, veteran safeties Kevin Byard and Jonathan Owens were inked to 2-year deals. Speaking of the secondary, superstar corner Jalen Johnson was brought in on a 4-year deal worth $76 million. Chicago may be known as the Windy City, but the forecast calls for an extremely bright future for this long-struggling Bears team. Losing, Dallas Cowboys. 2 weeks after their season ended with a humiliating loss to the Green Bay Packers on wildcard weekend, Cowboys owner Jerry Jones said that the team will have an all-in approach for the offseason. Well, all we can tell you folks is that the renowned expert of word salad has a very funny definition of all-in.
Whatever. Our team was so good last year, we don't need a bunch of free agents.
No, that's all in right there.
All in.
The usually Rock City offensive line lost future Hall of Famer Tyron Smith and center Tyler Biadasz in free agency. Lead running back Tony Pollard left for Tennessee, putting Rico Dowdle, he of 385 career rushing yards, atop the depth chart. Veteran edge rushers Dorrance Armstrong Jr. and Dante Fowler Jr. bolted for the rival Washington Commanders too. Oh yeah, and all-pro cornerback Stephon Gilmore is also gone. So to date, Dallas's big move was signing past his prime linebacker Eric Kendricks on a 1-year deal. Yep.
See that, boy? Why aren't you making any business deals?
I'll do it this afternoon.
Jerry keeps telling us how badly he wants another Super Bowl. All in might actually be the biggest lie that Jones has ever told. Winning? New York Jets. The Jets had 3 primary needs this offseason, and GM Joe Douglas addressed them all in a matter of days. Number 1, offensive line help. Badly. Number 2, a proven number 2 receiver. Number 3, a competent backup QB option behind Aaron Rodgers. Ladies and gentlemen, Douglas did not disappoint. He signed longtime Cowboys All-Pro offensive tackle Tyron Smith to a 1-year deal, giving Rodgers a rock-solid blindside protector. Douglas also traded for old friend Morgan Moses and landed another ex-Baltimore Raven and John Simpson on a 2-year deal. That is 3 new starters on an O-line that allowed 64 sacks last year. Needing another receiver to help Garrett Wilson, the Jets picked up Mike Williams on a 1-year deal following his release from the Los Angeles Chargers. The contested catch specialist has 2 1,000-yard seasons under his belt and should do wonders with the 4-time MVP throwing him the football. And lastly, the Jets signed veteran journeyman Tyrod Taylor to a 1-year deal, ensuring there is a steady backup option, something that Zach Wilson was not last year. Rodgers is coming back with a force, with a much better offensive line and an improved supporting cast to help him. Yeah, these Jets have totally aced the offseason, and now they got no more excuses. They have to, and they're gonna contend for a Super Bowl next season. Losing, Denver Broncos. The Broncos brought in Sean Payton last year to fix Russell Wilson. The Broncos actually had to give up the hefty price of a 2023 first-round pick plus a 2024 second-rounder to the New Orleans Saints to acquire Payton. Wilson had a fine bounce-back year in Denver, throwing for 26 touchdowns against only 8 interceptions. The 9-time Pro Bowler, however, was benched for the Broncos' final 2 games after refusing to adjust the injury guarantees in his contract. So the Broncos ultimately decided to cut Wilson, taking on an NFL record $85 million in dead money for the next 2 years. Continuing the roster reset, top wideout Jerry Jeudy was traded to the Cleveland Browns for 2 late-round picks. Oh, and all-pro safety and fan favorite Justin Simmons was released in a cap-saving move. The O-line was shaky enough as is. Then it lost center Lloyd Cushenberry to the Tennessee Titans in free agency. With the number 12 pick in the 2024 NFL Draft, the Broncos are out of range to get Jaden Daniels or Drake May. So, what exactly is Denver's plan then? They sold the farm for Wilson and later Payton just to basically tank? Like, seriously, what's the plan here in Mile High City? Broncos fans deserve better than this complete misdirection. Good thing they have the Colorado Avalanche and Denver Nuggets to remind them of what a great and well-managed sports team looks like. Winning. Washington Commanders. The Commanders' offseason crown jewel will come on draft day when they get either Jaden Daniels or Drake May with the number 2 selection. But the bottom line, the new regime of Adam Peters and Dan Quinn have certainly aced their first offseason together. And for once, brighter days appear to be ahead for this once proud NFL franchise. Looking to rebuild a defense that finished dead last in both the yards and points allowed, the Commanders signed future Hall of Famer Bobby Wagner, versatile safety Jeremy Chin, and standout pass rushers Dorrance Armstrong Jr. and Frankie Louver. Needing to fix up an O-line that allowed 65 sacks on Sam Howell, Washington also signed Tyler Biotish and Nick Algretti. And for good measure, ex-Chargers star running back Austin Eckler is picked up on a 2-year deal, giving Washington's next QB another playmaking weapon. Oh, and they somehow got a 3rd-round pick plus a 5th-rounder from the Seattle Seahawks for Howell, who is never going to be playing another snap in D.C. The Commanders have completely revamped their defense and O-line, 2 of football's absolute worst units a year ago. And with a new potential franchise QB on the way, the Commanders are about to complete a near flawless offseason. Losing Minnesota Vikings. When you lose a 4-time Pro Bowl quarterback for nothing in free agency, of course you're going to be an offseason loser. But even if you take Kirk Cousins' departure out of the picture, it still hasn't been a very encouraging offseason in the Gopher State. Cousins left for the Atlanta Falcons in free agency, and Minnesota pivoted by signing Sam Darnold to a 1-year deal. That's an interesting call, especially considering they could have landed a better option for very cheap, like, I don't know, Russell Wilson, Jimmy Garoppolo, Gardner Minshew II, or heck, even Jacoby Brissett. The Vikings also lost their top defensive player and 4-time Pro Bowler Danielle Hunter. Jonathan Grenard was a nice pickup in free agency, but he's still a bit of a downgrade over Hunter. And we are not convinced that the signings of Andrew Van Winkle and Blake Cashman will move the needle on this defense. Minnesota made one big splash by acquiring the number 23 pick from the Houston Texans, but that cost the Vikings their next 2 second-round picks. And remember, they don't have a 3rd-rounder because of the TJ Hawkinson trade. Unless the Vikings come away with J.J. McCarthy or Bo Nix in the draft, they'll enter 2024 with an all-time draft bust in Darnold and without their defensive MVP in Hunter. Winning Atlanta Falcons. With half-competent quarterback play, the Falcons would have won the NFC South Division in both 2022 and 2023. But alas, they finished 7-10 both years because of the mediocre to terrible production under center. Well, that problem is entirely out the window now. The Falcons were the lucky winners of the Kirk Cousins sweepstakes, landing the former Viking on a 4-year deal worth $180 million. A healthy Cousins will put up over 4,000 passing yards and 25-plus TDs in any given year. That will not be an issue in Atlanta, where he'll be working behind an elite offensive line with a wealth of weapons. Bijan Robinson, Tyler Algier, Drake London, Kyle Pitts, and Darnell Mooney? Yeah, that is a terrifying thought for the rest of the NFL. And don't forget, the Falcons can beef up an already borderline top 10 defense with the number 8 pick in the NFL draft. So to us, there is a new clear-cut favorite for the NFC South Division crown. After being stuck in neutral for the last 6 years, the Falcons are finally onto something special here. If Cousins comes as advertised, Atlanta could very well re-emerge as a Super Bowl contender in 2024. Losing Baltimore Ravens. The Ravens narrowly dropped a heartbreaker to the Kansas City Chiefs in the AFC Championship game. And so far, they've done nothing to close the gap with the defending champs. If anything else, they've just widened that gap. Pairing Derrick Henry with Lamar Jackson was a beautiful move. But at 30 years of age, how much of an upgrade will Henry be over Gus Edwards? The Ravens' stout offensive line lost John Simpson and Morgan Moses, both of whom joined the Jets. Their front seven took a giant hit with the departures of Jadeveon Clowney and Patrick Queen, who went to the arch-rival Pittsburgh Steelers, by the way, plus the release of Tyus Bowser. The defense lost standout safety Geno Stone to another division rival, the Cincinnati Bengals. Quarterback Ronald Darby left for Jacksonville, opening up yet another void in the Ravens secondary. And we thought losing well-respected defensive coordinator Mike Macdonald was a tough enough blow to begin with. Can someone please tell us how the current makeup of this Baltimore D is more suited to stop Patrick Mahomes? Winning Pittsburgh Steelers. The Steelers won 10 games and reached the postseason in 2023 with 3 different quarterbacks in Kenny Pickett, Mitch Trubisky, and Mason Rudolph. Those 3 combined for 3,421 passing yards, 13 touchdowns, and 9 interceptions. Honestly, Pittsburgh has not had above-average QB play since Ben Roethlisberger's last great year in 2018. team. But they just keep churning out winning seasons and have still made the playoffs in 3 of the last 4 years. So hey, take that, haters. So Mike Tomlin and Omar Khan let Trubisky and Rudolph walk to free agency. Then they signed Russell Wilson to a 1-year deal worth the veteran's minimum. That prompted Pickett to request a trade, so he was dealt to the Philadelphia Eagles. After that move, the Steelers landed Justin Fields from the Bears for a 2025 late-round draft choice. So they went from 10 wins in the playoffs with 3 mediocre QBs to swapping those 3 out for a safe veteran option and a recent former first-round pick who just might hit his ceiling in Steel City. Oh, and the Steelers signed Pro Bowl linebacker Patrick Queen away from the arch-rival Ravens, as if the TJ Watt, Cam Hayward, and Alex Highsmith-led defense wasn't scary enough. Wilson is a fine short-term option for the time being, and if he can't regain his Pro Bowl-like form, then the Steelers can turn to the dual-threat Fields. All angles are covered for a Pittsburgh team that may finally make the jump to Super Bowl contender again. Losing Buffalo Bills. Did the Bills have to cut Tre'Davious White, Jordan Poyer, Micah Hyde, and Mitch Morse to clear cap space? Yeah. Were they wise to let Leonard Floyd and Gabe Davis walk instead of overpaying to keep them? Well, yeah, also yes. But at the same time, all those losses do not make the Bills a better team in the short term. Not even close. Josh Allen lost one of his best defensive linemen and his number 2 receiver. The Bills' stingy secondary just lost its 3 best players. And just how does this close the gap with the Chiefs, Ravens, Texans, Bengals, Dolphins, and Jets in the AFC? That's right, it doesn't. At all. The only big splash in the opening week of free agency was wideout Curtis Samuel on a 3-year deal worth $24 million. And that is generous money for a guy who doesn't have a single 1,000-yard receiving season on his resume. Sorry, Bills fans, but right now, your team is actually closer to missing the playoffs than getting to a Super Bowl. That's just the cold hard truth. And that is what the painful salary cap can really do to you. But which other teams have won the offseason, and which ones do you think have lost it? Let us know in the comment section below. If you like this video and learned a thing or two, clicking the like button helps out a ton. And hey, we appreciate it. If this is your first time coming around to TPS though, well, subscribing is a great idea because we put out videos like this every single day. But as always, thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys next time.